Sunnah protectors of the Sunnah protectors of the Sunnah. Alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. And again, this series that I am teaching now, the fiqh of the prayer, I've never taught it before, so this is something new for you guys who've been coming here for years. And we just completed the fiqh of the obligatory prayers, understanding the obligatory prayers. Today we're going to go begin discussion of the Sunnah prayers. The Sunnah prayers. There are Sunnah prayers. And again, what's the difference between obligatory and Sunnah? Sunnah are the things that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, or the things that he did that we are not obligated to say or do. But we do them because he did them, and doing them will bring reward. Does everybody understand that? What the meaning of the word Sunnah is in these cases? Again, Sunnah refers to the things that the Prophet Muhammad said and did that we are not obligated to say and do. But we do them because doing them brings about rewards. And one such example are the Sunnah prayers. Do we have to perform them? No, we do not. Is Allah going to hold you accountable, Brother Muhammad, because you didn't do the Sunnah prayers? The answer is no, he is not, because those are not obligations. But he will hold you accountable for not performing the obligatory prayers. So why do we do the Sunnahs? We do the Sunnah prayers, again, because of the reward they bring. And today we're going to speak about the Sunnah rakaats of Fajr. But first, let me give you some more information on the Sunnah prayers. So, since we don't have to do the Sunnah prayers, why do them? Well, not only do they bring about great reward for you, because whenever we do voluntary actions, they bring reward, because it shows Allah just how much you really love him. And remember that hadith, my servant will continue to do the voluntary deeds until I love him. This is how Allah ends up loving you, because you're doing things that you're not obligated to do, but you're doing them to show your love for him. So that's why we do the Sunnah prayers. That's why the Prophet did the Sunnah prayers. Okay? And also by doing the Sunnah prayers, they serve another purpose too. And that purpose is they make up for any deficiencies found in your obligatory prayer. Or say, for example, any mistakes that you make in your obligatory prayers, the Sunnah prayers will make up for them. Listen to the hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the first thing that the people will be held accountable for on the day of judgment will be the prayers. Allah will say to the angels, although he even knows already, he will say to the angels, look to the prayer of that person and tell me if he observed it perfectly or if he was negligent with it. And if the person did observe the prayers perfectly, it will be written in his favor. But if he was negligent with a prayer in any type of way, Allah will say, well, look to see if he did any voluntary prayers. And if he did do any voluntary prayers, Allah will say, allow the voluntary prayers to make up for the deficiency in his obligatory prayers. So that's the big main purpose of doing them, because any mistakes that you make in your obligatory prayers, the voluntary prayers will make up for that. Does everybody understand that? Also in another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, try to keep to the straight path. even though you won't be able to do it completely because you're human. You're going to make mistakes. And know that the best of your deeds is the prayer. And only a true believer holds tight to his voodoo. Okay, so again, this is why we do those voluntary prayers. We don't have to do the Sunnah prayers, but we do them, because number one, doing them helps to bring us closer to Allah, and it helps us to earn Allah's love. And also doing them brings about great reward because the Prophet used to do them. And also the main reason why we do them is because they make up for any mistakes that we have in our regular prayers. Okay? And also, guys, another thing that should be noted about the Sunnah prayers, and this is for you brothers, you should pray them at home. Now, every Muslim man here knows or should know that you're supposed to make your Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha at the mosque. You're supposed to pray your obligatory prayers at the mosque every day. But the Sunnah and praying them at the mosque brings about more reward for you. But the Sunnah prayers, you should pray them at home. That includes any Sunnah prayer. For example, the Witr prayer. I know some brothers that like to go to the mosque and pray tahajjud. You should be praying tahajjud at home. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, if one of you offers his prayers in the mosque, then he should make a portion of his prayers in his home, because Allah has made his prayers in his home a betterment for him. And he's talking about the voluntary prayers for you brothers. The women here already know that a Muslim woman gets more blessings praying at home, period. But a man gets more blessings praying the obligatory prayers at the mosque. But the Sunnah prayers, you brothers should pray at home and pray them with your family. Also, in another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the voluntary prayer of a man in his home is a light, and whoever wishes to do so should lighten up his home. Because again, this is your way of also teaching your family how to pray. You're going to pray the Sunnah prayers with your wife and kids. You're teaching them how to pray, and you're also bringing worship of Allah into the home. And that's why the Prophet said, do not turn your homes into a graveyard. So again, you brothers should understand the Sunnah prayers should be stayed at home. And also we have another hadith for the brothers where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said a man's prayer in his home, his voluntary prayer in his home, is better than his prayer in my mosque, except for the obligatory prayers. So again, all these hadiths are the proofs that you brothers get more blessings praying your voluntary or your Sunnah prayers at home. But the obligatory prayer should be at the mosque for you brothers. Okay? Also, another thing to note, when you pray the Sunnah prayers, it's preferred for you to prolong your recitation. Now, remember the other day, Brother Muhammad asked me, he said, Sister Laila, if I'm leading someone else in prayer and I want to make my dua, should I make it quick, or can I just go, lay there, stay prostrating? No, you make it quick because you're leading people. But when you are praying your Sunnah prayers, then you can prolong your recitation. That's when you can recite the whole Surah Baqarah if you want to, because you're praying by yourself basically. Okay? That's when you can stay in prostration for an hour if you want to, making dua. Okay? We have a hadith where one of the companions said the Prophet would stand and pray until his feet swole up. And when he was asked why he did it, he said, shouldn't I show my gratitude towards Allah? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, prolonging the standing in the prayer is one of the best deeds a man can do. So if you're praying by yourself, now is when you can stand there. Remember, we talked about how the Prophet would make personal supplication before the Fatiha. Well, now you can stand there and make your personal supplication and then recite the whole Surah Baqarah if you want after the Fatiha. Okay? So again, it's preferred when you're doing the Sunnah prayers to prolong your recitation. And also, we talked about this the other day. If the Sunnah prayers can be performed while sitting, even if you can stand, but I want you all to remember that if you choose to sit, you will get half the reward of standing. You will get half the reward of standing. And this is different because remember, standing is a pillar of the obligatory prayer. If you want your obligatory prayer to be accepted, you have to stand. You can't choose to sit if you're able to stand. But with the Sunnah prayers, it's different. You can choose to sit. But if you choose to sit, you're going to receive half the reward. But the prayer is valid. Whereas with the obligatory prayer, if you chose to sit, it wouldn't be your prayer wouldn't be invalid. Okay? We have a hadith where one of the companions asked Aisha, she said, how did the Prophet perform 2 rakats while sitting? She said he would recite the Quran while sitting, and then when he wished to make ruku, he would stand and bow. So that just shows you can sit if doing a voluntary prayer. Okay? Also, guys, there are some voluntary prayers that are prayed in addition to the obligatory ones. And this is what we're going to begin discussion of. I'm going to speak about the sunnahs of Fajr. But the things I just told you are apply to all sunnah prayers. You can pray them sitting, but if you choose to pray them sitting, you're going to get half the reward of standing, but the prayer is still accepted. And also, you don't have to do them at all, but we do them because not only do they bring us closer to Allah and help us to earn His love, but they also make up for any deficiencies or mistakes in our obligatory prayers. So now what I want to do is talk about the Sunnah prayers, the Sunnah rakaats of the prayers. And today we're going to speak about the 2 rakats of Fajr. The 2 rakats of Fajr. And there are numerous hadiths that talk about the virtues of praying the 2 rakats of Fajr. For example, we have a hadith whereas the Prophet was he said the 2 rakats of Fajr are more dear to me than anything else in this world. In other words, he loved to perform them. Also in another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not leave the 2 rakats of the Fajr prayer, even if you are being attacked by an enemy. And that just shows the importance of those 2 rakats. You don't have to do them, but the Prophet is emphasizing, how great a reward it is to do them. And out of all the voluntary prayers, the ones that he was most particular about doing were the 2 rakats before Fajr. So again, guys, the 2 rakats of Fajr are performed before the Fajr prayer. And they consist of just 2 rakats. Again, you don't have to do them, but we do them, for the reward they bring, okay? And also when you perform the 2 rakats of Fajr, do them quickly. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would pray the 2 rakats of Fajr before dawn in the house of his wife Hafsa, and he would be quick doing it. Okay, so the reason why is so you don't miss out on the Fajr prayer. The Fajr prayer comes in at dawn and doesn't stay long. So that's why you should make those 2 rakats quickly. All right. And also, after praying the 2 rakats of the 2 Sunnah rakats of Fajr, the Prophet used to lie down on his side and wait for the Fajr. Now I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of Muslims out there who come to you and want to argue. They tell you, oh, Sister Laila, is it true that we have to, after making the Sunnah rakats of Fajr, we have to lay down? You don't have to do that. This is what the Prophet did. After the Prophet would pray the 2 Sunnah rakats of Fajr, he would lie down on his right side. But if Aisha was awake, she said that he would talk to her. If his wives were awake, he would talk to them. And why did he do this? He did this to stay awake so he wouldn't miss the Fajr prayer. Because the two sunnahs of Fajr are prayed before Fajr. They're prayed before the Fajr. So he would lie down or talk to his wives to keep himself from going back to sleep. Because again, you're going to be tempted to go back to sleep because it's early in the morning. But do you have to do that? No, you don't. You don't have to lie down on your side, and you don't have to go talk to nobody. But you want to try to stay awake so you don't miss the Fajr prayer. Also, guys, what about this? What about this? I perform the two sunnahs of Fajr every day, but I happen to oversleep one day. Well, if you oversleep, you can still make them when you wake up because it's part of your practice. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever fails to pray the two sunnah rakaats of the Fajr and he wakes up after the sun has risen, then he should still go ahead and pray them. Okay, so even if you, because it's a voluntary prayer. So say, for example, you overslept and missed Fajr. Oh my God, what do I do? You can, if you want to pray your two sunnah rakats, you still can. And you can pray them before or after the sun rises. Okay, if that's what you choose to do. So thus, guys, these are the hadiths that speak about the two rakats of Fajr. And that's all there is to know. There are two rakats that are prayed before the Fajr prayer. And these, two rakats are the two that the Prophet loved the most. Okay? And you want to try to stay awake after performing them so you can make your Fajr prayer. That's why the Prophet would lie down on his right side or talk to his wives so he wouldn't fall back to sleep. Okay, but if you choose to not pray those two rakats, Allah is not going to hold you accountable for it. Allah is not going to ask you about it or any of that. But if you do pray them, it's good because it'll bring about reward for you and make up for any deficiencies in your obligatory prayers. So we'll stop right here for today. Tomorrow we're going to continue by speaking about the Sunnah Rakats of Dhuhr. The Sunnah Rakats of Dhuhr. So we'll stop right here. If you guys have any questions or comments, inshallah, you can go ahead, and type them on the screen. So Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.